Hey Alvin, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing well this year. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for joining. This podcast really and show is so important for every investor. Due diligence. It's always a step that is a must for many of us. Especially even myself.
Yeah,
That I like to kind of understand all my risk categories. So due diligence is one
yeah,
of those things that we have to do. I think it's very necessary so we can sleep at nighttime. So thanks
exactly.
again. Thank you again for joining. And yeah, so Alvin, where are you calling us from?
So I'm calling you from Markham, Ontario. That's in Canada.
Awesome, Markham. Markham. Oh man, I've been traveling there every single day for the past 2 years. Thank
Yeah,
God to pandemic. I'm not driving these days to Markham.
yeah. It's very convenient to work at home. I'm actually the opposite. I'm driving to the west.
Oh really? Where are you
Yeah.
going? You
So so
Where do you
I work.
go?
My hospital is in the west end, like near Mississauga. So you're going to the east. I'm going to the west. So maybe in
Okay.
a 401 we're just waving at each other.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe we should meet at IKEA and do some shopping there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can.
Wow, thanks again for joining it. Really appreciate it. I
Yeah.
was reading your bio and you said, I looked at your Instagram and really wanted to thank you first, for all the work that you do as a nurse.
Oh, thanks.
I know it has been a year of craziness and nursing and hospitals are really critical to this. So thank you again. Really appreciate all the work you're doing there.
And thank you for your support, and to everyone who supports the nurses. We during these times, whatever supports we get, we just want to do our best, and we just hope the community is healthy. So
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I have my wife is a nurse. My daughter is coming out as a nurse. So
yeah.
I can, sometimes I think like you must be nuts to go into a nursing program. But it's all about a heart. When
Yeah.
you have that care of people, no matter what happens,
Yes.
you will always jump. It's a DNA of people. It's very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
From us like IT people, we can just switch over companies.
Yeah.
But nursing is you really love. You have to love what you're doing.
Yes.
So it's so critical. So thanks again. So can you introduce yourself a little bit, your journey, how you started, to give
Yeah.
the background a little bit to the audience.
Yes. So again, my name is Alvin, and you're absolutely right. I am a Canadian registered nurse. Well, my story really began when I finally got up to the critical care department. It took me many years to get there, and I was so excited. I was very proud of myself too. And after working 1 year, I was told that I would be let go. And during nursing shortage, and I'm sure any nurses can tell you, we really need more manpower of nursing. They're already letting go nurses, and just proves how unsafe anywhere, wherever you work. And that caught me surprised. So, anyways, I ended up finding another position, and that led me to move to Toronto. And during my despair, I was cleaning up my closet, cleaning all the movings, and I found a left dusted in a bookshelf was a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Awesome.
And finally, I read that book literally in 1 day. That's how good it is. And it was a mindset book. And it also talked about how finances are also something that we left out and we should consider. And that really changed my mindset into like what's liability and asset. Really made me look into my current situation, and I realized I had to like really do something, or. So eventually I found out real estate is the best vehicle, if not the best vehicle out there. And I went on a quest to find people out there that can help me
Mhm.
level up, because I didn't want to, I was really scared. I didn't know, like, I have no knowledge in real estate. I have no finance background. I'm a nurse with only health patho and physiology knowledge, right? So I wanted to find someone before I find a property. And that's where I networked. Someone referred me to a high performance real estate coach, and I've been with him
Awesome.
for 2 years. He's been showing me around. He's been took me under his wing, and since then, I scaled up to 5 properties, 13 doors. So I never looked
Awesome.
back since then. Yeah,
Congrats. Congrats. That's very amazing that you just started in October, right? 2020, when
Yes.
everybody was scared.
Yeah, that was I got really lucky because when everyone got scared, like there was a lot of properties out there no one wants to buy, and it just happened so well. Even thinking like I just picked up a property out of nowhere. I didn't even know I struck the home run, So because I was just so concentrated on just want to buy a property, I don't care. I just want one.
That's right. Yeah. And you know what? What I really like is you took action on it, right? While everybody was scared and wondering, the world is coming
Yeah.
to the end, right? So
Yeah.
when you look at the real estate investors, some start when it's very high, when everything is safe,
Yes.
right? Some start when it's low, right? I
Correct.
I started in 2008 when things were going down, and I was called nuts,
Yeah.
to start the journey.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
congratulations for that.
Oh, thank
Definitely
you.
taking a massive action there.
Thank you.
So you decided to, before you invested, as part of your proper due diligence that you're doing yourself on yourself, like before you start investing, you decided to hire a coach.
That's correct.
Why was that? Like some of us will be jumping into the real estate, buy,
Yeah.
but what was the mindset around it? Can
Yeah.
you give us a little bit of due diligence? It's part of the due diligence that you did, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, everyone has a different scenario. And for all your listeners, I'm not here to promote any coaching or anything like that. It's all different. Everyone has a different path. But what I can tell your listeners, this is my experience. And for those who are relatable to what my current situation this might be helpful for them. I know some people that did well without a coach, like you said, some people learn well tactilely and
Mhm.
just go along with the flow. And hey, I know some great investor that did it, but a coach is there to help you to like scale, hold you accountable, and that's something I needed. And second thing is that, like I mentioned earlier, like I didn't had any knowledge of real estate. I don't own a single property, not even primary residence. So I'm going there really like freaking out, like I don't like when I first saw my first property, I'm like, oh my God, analysis paralysis right there.
Right,
So
right.
so I'm like, well, you know what? If I'm going to do well, and because a lot of money is going to be put into this, I better like invest into my IQ, my educations. It's like when you're going to school, you're paying a lot of money to go for tuition. Like my 4 years of nursing, like that's I'm sure your
Yep.
your daughter going through the same thing. Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah.
Like schooling is expensive. So if people are able to cough up that amount of money for schooling and teaching, you're paying for
Yeah.
knowledge. What's the difference with the coaching? That's how I saw it.
It's just we don't have a university degree out there, right? That says
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Real estate investor,
Yeah,
bachelor of
exactly.
investor.
Exactly. There's no 101 real estate course out there yet, but I hope one day someone will come
Oh,
up with
I
that.
mean, the schools have to upgrade their curriculum probably,
Oh yeah.
especially the business side. It's not only stocks.
Yeah, exactly. And
But it's a
so
balance. It's a balance. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. And so like part of my due diligence of finding a coach, it's I always tell people who ask me that question, you're going to have to not just do research about the background of the coach you're doing, but this is the situation when you eventually when you scale up, or when you choose a coach, you always have to remember that you're going to be the mirror of that person. So with
Hmm.
my coach, he has 4 children, not that I want 4 children, but it's just because I love that. I want to have that life, a family man life.
Right.
I want to have someone who's balanced in life, where they can not only just take care of their family, but also take care of business, workout, exercise, taking care of their body. So when I train under him, I'm basically mirroring him and basically a duplicate of him, and that's the lifestyle I want.
Awesome. Yeah. Not only investing, but
Yeah,
everything else.
exactly.
Living the
Yeah,
life, the
exactly.
balanced life. That's what we all look for.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. So that's great. I mean, you're looking at the balanced approach, right? I mean, it's easy to get stuck into the journey of investor and you forget everything else, what's
yeah,
happening at home and all that, right? So it is great that you starting that way. You started in that way, that in the future you're looking for something that is very
yeah.
balanced. So it's
Yes,
it's a future kind of plan, right? You want to get there that way
exactly.
by not burning everything behind you.
Yeah,
That is
exactly.
awesome. Yeah, that is awesome. So where did you end up investing? If you can share that.
Yeah.
About
So
this journey. Yeah.
yeah. So um, on October the 2nd, that's when I started to invest my very first property, and that was in Windsor, Ontario.
All right.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
the reason why I chose that location is because my very first networks were all there. So if I know that if anything happens to me, I at least can turn to somebody that is familiar with the market and able to help me.
Right. So, did you do any research there? Any nuggets you can provide us? What did you see? Why Windsor?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
is
Windsor
it because your
has
friend are investing there?
so that's another one of my due diligence to make sure, because your net worth is your net worth, right? So
Yeah. All right.
so but beside that, there's also like a good
Can I borrow your toolkit, your tool sets and plumber?
yeah.
That's part of
So
it.
Windsor has a lot of good economic, right, too, right? They traditionally, it's an automobile industry, alongside with Detroit. So that was very favorable, like how they pivoted to technology with automobiles, and they share the border of Detroit. Detroit's doing really well as well too. So there's definitely for sure trades happening between the two cities. So that's another great thing. They're building a new bridge. They're like
Mhm.
also there's a University of Windsor there.
Interesting.
More people are like getting priced out in Toronto, right? So if they cannot go down to the south because that's where the state is, then where are they gonna go? Is either west, north, or east.
Right.
So eventually there's an overspillage and people are moving to the west. And slowly people are coming towards Windsor, and they are like, we all know Windsor how hot it is since 2020 all the way till now, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And yeah, so it's kind of interesting because it's all the way to the end,
Mhm.
right, of the closer to the border, like every other city. But
Yeah.
not many investors they have done that level of kind of due diligence, right? Like I
Yes.
ask particularly some other people, are you aware there is a second bridge that is coming up there? And what that will do to the economy or to the local people.
Mhm.
So how did you start that due diligence? Did you call somebody or did you ask your friends already investing there as part of your due diligence? How did you get that info?
Yeah, so that's where yeah, friends are very important. But also I also had a coach as well too. So my coach gave me exercise to do to find out the population, find out the rate of unemployment, find out what the rental rate is. So I reached out to property management. So while I was building my power team, for those of your um, listeners who are new new to real estate, the power team, we always say power team. That's like your property manager, your lawyers, accountant, people that are going to be your lifelong partners to help you along your journey, like trade workers, like general contractors. So I asked my whole while I was building my power team, I was asking around the locals, what do you see in Windsor? What do you see in this environment? Which area I should stay away from?
Mhm.
And so you'd be surprised how many people are willing to share, because at the end of the day, you're building a relationship with these your power team members of yours. So, if you benefit, they benefit as well too. And also they want to have you as a lifelong friend as well too. So, I mean, I was pretty lucky, at least with my experience. Yeah, so I went through that. Oh, another one is we recently did a um that Canadian survey, census, sorry,
Census.
census.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that census, like, I really highly encourage people to look into the census. It's already updated, and you can see the population, the household income, and a lot more golden nuggets into that, and that can determine what market you want to get into. You know,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah. And you can see if the population is coming in or the
yeah,
population is getting out, right? So
correct, yeah,
as an investor, because we're doing long term, right? We want to make sure
hmm,
people are in and staying there, to
yeah,
as their families are growing. So
yeah,
that's awesome. So
exactly.
why, as part of the due diligence, population and economy is so driven? If you look at today's bidding going on, like market offer, like over asking price, and people don't even have time to do due diligence. Why would you think those two parameters are so critical for the long-term investor?
Yeah, so you really want to do your due diligence so that depending on your strategy, like for instance, with my situation is I need to make sure that I'm when I do buy in long term, it matches with the flow of it. So when I say that, it means that having tenants that are able to continue paying rent, at least, and also seeing, also like you want to make sure that you get premium rent as well too. So when you renovate a beat up property, like you want to have the rent that covers everything, including like your long term wealth as well too. You want to see like in good infrastructures inside the economy of that city, because if you're having like a dying city then most likely people want to leave and then you're going to have less cash flow. Oh, that's another thing, cash flow is very important, because I know a lot of people have different strategy. With myself, it's all about cash flow because
Right.
if anything downturns, you know you'll be
That's the
having a
one,
cash
man.
flow. Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
nuggets. That's the nuggets that people need to understand.
Yeah,
When things go down, your rent continue to pay. That's the beauty about the real estate.
yeah,
Somebody will pay the rent, but we need to buy where there is economy, there is jobs, as part of your due diligence, not somewhere that you have practically 10,000 or less population,
yeah,
retirement town. That's
yeah.
it'll be risky in my opinion, but again, part of your due diligence, people need to do that.
Yeah. And
That's awesome.
another thing I would also I didn't talk about is I like to track where the young people go.
Hmm. Hold on for that. Why is that? I'm in my 50s now, so I still tracking the young folks.
Yeah.
But I got into one due diligence I did.
Mhm.
I had a call with somebody in Sault Ste. Marie. In
Yeah.
that neighborhood, I was looking, and the guy told me, Nasir, this is for the retirement home. When we get retired, that population growth that you're seeing there is all retirement.
Yeah.
So I will
Well,
join them later when I can buy for $100,000. But
yeah.
for now, as an investor, it's completely different. So yeah, so
Yeah.
tell me a little bit why is that important to you?
Yeah. So, I mean, you want to like also attract the young people to stay. That was the main thing. So you look at Sudbury, that's where I'm investing into. And we can dive a little bit deeper into why I went over there. So
Mm-hmm.
I pivot. Now I'm investing not just Windsor, but also Sudbury. So
Awesome.
Sudbury, there's a plan, infrastructure happening that they're making a Kingsway entertainment district. This is like a plan that the city has been long vision to do, and it's been approved to do it so that they can hold on to young people because there's entertainment, there's things to do there. It just makes the city attractive.
Yep.
And so we both know that eventually, like, there needs to be there needs to be a balance, like retirement, but having young people, like, they're going to start families, so they're growing. They're going to have
Awesome.
children's. Their
Yeah.
children's going to be the one who's going to maybe take over that property, or actually, like, continue renting eventually. Because let's be honest here, this year, like, we, it's really scary. Like, people are like, not a lot of people can own houses now.
Yeah.
It's all about renting now,
That's
so
right.
you and I are providing shelter for the next generation. If they can't afford properties, they're going to be renting.
That's
So
right.
that's
Yeah.
why when you do due diligence, you want to make sure that the rental can sustain the future as well too.
Awesome. You know what? Interesting. You spoke about Sudbury. So my daughter did her nursing program in Sudbury, actually, in
Yeah,
Lawrence University, and for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been going there, and every single year I
yeah,
see a face change.
yeah.
you know Something is happening, and we were laughing about it, me and my daughter, that when we started, you cannot find Chinese food, Indian food. Okay, so it was
Yeah,
very difficult. You had to
yeah,
really drive 20-30 kilometers to find something. Then we went year 2, year 3, year 4, completely different. And you can see the young population that is coming there. You go to the hotels, young population,
yeah.
students, even massive students, right? Like coming
Mhm.
to the colleges, right?
Yeah.
What is that, Cambrian, I think, college up there.
Yep, Cambrian College, Laurentian University. Yeah, these are, and
Mhm.
they also have another French-speaking college as well too, up in
Boreal,
Sudbury. So
Boreal.
but there's
Yeah,
exactly. So there's
yeah,
a lot of educational institution up there.
right,
So we're talking about students that one day they're going to be like, well, you know what, I already know the environment really well, and they're gonna I mean, when they do their placement, at least with nursing, you know, clinical placement, you're gonna go to these local hospital, and then you end up building a relationship with the nurses, the doctors there, and you're like, well, you know what, I already know this place and I really set myself a new home here, why don't I just stay? Yeah.
right, right. And opportunities right there. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
And it's a beautiful city, actually.
Oh
If
yeah.
you look at from
Oh yeah.
the
Beautiful.
trails, like
Mhm.
the waterfront,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And plus the other part you mentioned as part of the infrastructure, that highway that we always drive through, it's been expanding for the past
Yeah,
5 years.
is.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like when I
Yeah.
started going there, and I was telling my wife, I said, this, if they expand this, the Sudbury has to blow up,
Yeah.
because you're gonna have like two-way, for trucks and everything going in and out, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Because right
Yeah.
now we go and then we become like single lane all the way, right? But you can see a massive infrastructure upgrade going on there. So
Yeah.
that's an economy check mark,
Yeah.
it's
Definitely on
coming.
my books.
It's coming. It's coming. Definitely. Exactly. What about jobs? So, in the old days, they used to say, "Oh, well, don't invest in Sudbury," literally, because it's a mining company, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
mining town. So, what's changed as part of your due diligence? What did you find?
Yeah. So just like Windsor, you know, traditionally it was a blue collar city, but as years goes by, technology gets more advanced, right? Like people need to operate technology.
Hmm.
So that's when things are pivoting. They're still going to keep the traditional mining, okay? But now we're talking about being a leader of mining industry of technology. So that's what I'm seeing in Sudbury, and what I'm here looking into articles talking about. And something bold, okay, not really something for someone to dive too crazy about, is that we are starting to become a world where we want to have green stuff, you know,
Hmm.
green
Hmm.
technology.
Hmm.
And so we're talking about like cars that needs to be powered by electricity. Well, look at EV. What is EV made of?
Yep.
And EV is made from nickel, right?
Yep. Yep.
And what's Sudbury known for in mining? Nickel.
That's right.
So that's how I see things. Yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be supporting the other industries, right? Compared to,
correct.
before maybe they were just focusing on exporting. Now you can see these right through to our automotive
Hmm.
industry, in Windsor, where the technology
Yeah.
for self-driving is coming up, right?
Yeah.
Or they've been working on, so you can see Ontario just in general, that's just on fire, because of the
Yeah. Exactly.
diversity,
Hmm.
so that's amazing. So what did you end up buying? What kind of property were you focusing on?
So yeah, I'm focusing on multifamily.
Okay.
It's just like I mentioned, cash flow. And I really like the complexity. I really like the complexity and challenges so of multifamily, because you're not just managing one individual, but you're problem solving other aspect as well too. So now you're managing two families, three families, and etc.
Awesome.
And it's I really enjoyed it. I like building relationship with my tenants, and I
Mhm.
really like the operation side of like managing small apartment buildings. And eventually I want to grow and take on more challenges to manage bigger units, you know, so we're talking about six and above.
Nice, nice. And definitely the financing become different when you get
Yeah,
there.
but yeah, and if you can do really well with it, like, oh, it's so lucrative what you can do with multifamily properties and
Mhm.
large apartment buildings, you know. So
Awesome.
uh,
So I saw one of your posts, like a post on Instagram. You were I've been in that area. I'm not sure if it's Little Britain, but it's an area that owner owns the taco, the ice cream, the bakery, that whole area of Sudbury. The cookies, ice creams. It's I think it's in the Little Britain area in Sudbury. It's have you been
Oh,
there? Like what I think you went there last time. Couple of
yeah.
you
So
had some
yeah.
cookies in that neighborhood, you know?
Oh yeah, that okay, yeah. I remember now. Yeah, so that is Donovan side, but I'm actually investing in properties in Little Britain. So
Okay.
Little Britain is a little bit nicer area compared to Donovan. Because my property wasn't far away from that area. And that's another thing. Due diligence. You just thanks for reminding me. Like you want to invest in areas that matches your portfolio. So I only invest into area that are classified as from A plus, obviously, all
Mhm.
the way down to like no less than I would say B or
Okay.
B minus. So just because I have experience, my Windsor property is a total C C neighborhood, and like I have there's a lot of challenges involved,
Yep.
you know. Um, and it was a huge learning curve for me, and it made me realize that if I don't want to make the same mistake, and so I don't want to, and also I don't want to be generalized or biased or anything. It's just that's just how it is. I just want to be safe. That's all.
That's
Like
right.
in terms of like investing.
So as
So
part of your due diligence, basically, you in your checklist,
yeah,
you are looking at your tenant demographic,
correct.
right? So you're targeting what is the avatar of that tenant you're looking for.
Yeah. So the avatar I'm looking for are young professionals.
Okay.
Because I definitely a healthcare provider background. So nurses, social worker, PT doesn't need to be a doctor.
That's right.
People basically have steady income. So we're talking about like I have a tenant that works from the CRA. Oh, that's another thing in Sudbury. There's a CRA, the headquarters there. So that's very reassuring. You know.
Stable jobs for some
Exactly.
people.
They will, exactly. They will never take down that because
No,
someone has to tax us, right?
we are paying for that.
Yeah, exactly. So
We should go there one day and take a picture and say we pay for that.
exactly. My tenants are works for the government, work in some shape or form, healthcare providers. I haven't had but yeah, definitely for sure, like a professional that has steady income, being able to
Mhm.
sustain the premium rents because we both know that we both know that there's some aspects where certain cities like Sudbury, like you can easily charge for a one bedroom all inclusive for like 1,200. So that's pretty good, you know.
Very good. Yeah, that definitely. Yeah. So yeah, the reason I asked you that area because I usually try to bounce my ideas to my daughter because she kind of goes around Sudbury when she was studying there for the past 4 or 5 years, and I will ask her for the due diligence. I will say, "Can you drive that area at with your friends and tell me what do you think?" And that area specifically, she was saying it is changing. You know,
Mhm.
it's slowly paced, but you have to look at the demographic, your tenant demographic, how long you want to project that. You know, going from C from C to B, let's say, it's
Mhm.
going to take some time, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a patience game for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And
Awesome.
that's the thing. Like eventually, the great thing is that when the city's getting really better, like getting better, like in terms of
Hmm.
attracting people, there's more jobs and everything. People want to find places to live that are really nice, you
Hmm.
know. And there's a situation where houses are so beat up in a bad neighborhood. One day they've poured more income into it, and they soup up this house, and then now this neighborhood becomes better. So
That's right.
I think that we as a real estate investors, we're helping that as well too. So yeah,
Yeah, it's a what is that transition that we are bringing in, right? Like
correct.
we clean up the front yards, and the
Yeah.
porch, and your house looks
Mhm.
much better, your gutters, all
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah. Exactly.
And hopefully your neighbor, if they are Jonesies, they will see what you're doing and they will have to upkeep with you.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like a no competition, but it is.
But it is, yeah, kind of slowly. That's awesome. So I noticed, congratulations on your triplex. I think you bought something recently, off market.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
so yeah, let's talk about were you one of those that just bought it, or you had already due diligence in mind, already completed on it?
Yeah. So this is another thing, you want to be an expert in your market.
Mhm.
So, because you never know when you need to take massive action once everything all aligns to your portfolio, your values, and also like the numbers, you know. So with this off market property, you know, I was very lucky. You know, I had somebody that brought to my attention that the seller wants to sell it, and I just went there, talked to them, and looked around the property, and I saw so much potential in it because it was because of triplex, because of the zoning that allow it to eventually make it into an even bigger property. So I'm really looking into like the future of this property, what I can creatively do to it.
Mhm. Okay.
And the numbers make sense because um, there's 3 bedrooms for 2 units, and then 1 bedroom for 1 unit.
Okay.
And there's already like 3 separate hydro meters, so you're saving some utilities right there.
Big time.
And there's a icing on the cake as well too. Like when you negotiate with the seller, find out what their asking price is, and once they tell you once they tell you the price they're looking for, because you're an expert in that market, you know how much this property can be sold for, then you will know what to do. And in that situation, the seller was asking for a very very reasonable price, and it makes sense to invest it because I've always looked into comps whenever I invest into property. Comps for those novice investors are called comparables. So there was a property. It was so happened so like it just happened so lucky that there was a property, exactly the same property, same structure, same units. How many units there are? It's literally 5 houses down, and it was sold for like 550.
Nice.
And then so I use that comparable and I negotiated and talked to the seller to see what we can come into common ground. And the seller was saying that, oh, we came into conclusion, and then the seller was happy to do 400.
Not bad. Congrats,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So did
So,
they see the comp? Did they see that one being sold before?
well, no, I mean, I like he has a realtor to help him and everything.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm sure he knows the market really well. But
Mm.
that's the thing, you know, when you buy properties, you got to make sure that there are some room. There's like meat on the bones, right?
Right.
Because you're taking on the renovation, you're taking on like the problem. So in this case, there's tenants in there, so you're inheriting tenants. No one likes to inherit tenants because especially in Ontario,
That's
it's
right.
so hard to get bad tenants out if they become bad, you know. So
Wow.
nobody likes to take that on. So, but I'm so I have my fair share of my bad experience of tenants not wanting to pay me. So I'm so numb to it, to the point where I'll inherit any inherited tenants, because I just know how to manage them, and I just know how to like negotiate and learn. And I also know how to. I'm comfortable um, talking with them to come to common grounds. Yeah.
Mhm. Um, so that's a very good property based on comparison you did. So
Mhm.
again, part of your due diligence,
Yeah.
you compare, you knew your
Yeah.
market, you know, your tenant profile in the future, right?
Yes.
Those are all the check marks. So
Mhm.
let me ask you, do you have some sort of a check mark or checklist that you go through every time, or it's all a mental note that you have?
So I've been documenting my journey. So I really highly encourage everyone, because no one can remember everything. So I do have a checklist. You know, I from all this aspect, little details about the property that I need to see. So from furnaces, from tenant payment, from not just background check, like property management side, but you also have like numbers as well too, like you know,
Mhm.
what's the holding cost if you were to how long you're going to be renovating this property, because holding cost is going to be like something that you have to consider, because a lot of people don't, I think, miss out on it, is that we forget about that this property is vacant. If you have a vacant property,
Okay.
you know, people don't factor into it that you're still paying property tax, you're still paying insurance, you're still paying all those to make sure to run that building with no tenant paying you anything because it's vacant, right? So I think that's one little aspect of how diligent I have to be and how
Mhm.
micro I have to get into. So it's all about building a system, and you learn from one property to the second property, and etc. And then you start to realize what you need to be due diligent on finding. Um, making sure that this property runs well and the numbers make sense.
Amazing nuggets, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing. I used to look at every property, as you walk into a property, and it's amazing. It's almost like a self-driving kind of person,
Yeah.
you
Yes.
you start looking at the driveway, your eyes are just flickering everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you're just going everywhere. You're looking at drive, you're looking at foundation as you enter in the property, you're looking at the roofs, windows, and
Wow.
it's amazing that after you get used to that, you just really clicking it, you're looking at the time you get off from there, you are like, okay, it's only the furnace that is left, or maybe the roof, so you all these checklists, I used to have a checklist that I will go through that, and I will every visit I will do, like every showings I will go to, I will just have 10 items and I will score them.
Yeah.
So is it good, is it bad, is it medium, need work? That was my scoring, and I will start with the driveway, and it's because my specialty was on the duplex side, so I was looking at the parking. At first thing was the parking, if there is enough parking for the basement and upstairs, looking at the property structure, windows, roof, side entrance, all of those things, but it's good to hear, like it's a very systematic approach. That's the beauty about doing a due diligence, and kudos to you is that at the end of the day, you're gonna sleep at nighttime.
That's the whole point. That's my goal. That's every investor's dream, is to sleep well at night.
Exactly. You will have those moments, and it's a learning moments, like you said, you learn your share, but that's a tuition fee. It's a tuition that you pay to yourself to learn that. If you did not invest, well, you will never learn that, right?
Yeah.
So it's, I think, the journey, every journey you will learn something new, it's different experience, different issues. It is definitely one thing. I look at it as somebody was asking me and said, why, what if this, what if that, what if that? I said, well, due diligence, number one.
Yeah.
Two, if you made a mistake, consider this as a tuition fee. You pay to yourself to educate yourself. Next time you don't repeat it,
Yeah.
Right. So it's a mindset kind of approach, people will say, oh, bad tenants, I'm gonna run away.
I love bad tenants.
Bring it on.
Yeah, exactly, because that's where you get the best deal.
That's right. Amazing.
Yeah.
What will be one of the items that you never skipped as part of your due diligence?
So with
or
I know I
couple,
say
couple of items, yeah.
Oh, I say this a lot, like it's all about the numbers, and it's so true, because in when it comes to investing, everything's all about numbers. So I would definitely never skip, like my the way my spreadsheet. I know we all have our own spreadsheet and everything. Trust the numbers, and don't fumble around the numbers. That's what you're laughing because you understand what I'm saying, because I've done it too. We all had our
kind of, yeah. Maybe
exactly.
I could change this number.
Exactly. It's all. Oh man, I hate to say it, but houses are emotional.
Oh man, especially when you have the fire to grow.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I remember losing out on a triplex because the numbers didn't make sense, and I'm like, oh, I gotta leave this house because it doesn't make sense. The numbers don't tell me. But I was like, no, but it's just a triplex. I never had a triplex. So it really F with your mind, So, but yeah, so really trust the numbers. I can't emphasize on that,
Put that property management percentage in there.
Exactly. Like we don't count that, and we don't count the holding costs, and we don't count like the unexpected the interest rate as well too. You think that we can actually continue on with 1.89% for primary residence? No, it's going to go up eventually. So what I always do is I jack it up to like predict it to a little bit more further. So right now the prime rate is 2.45 at this time of this podcast, right? I jack it up to 3%.
Yeah, I've always been using 3% regardless.
Exactly.
Even when I was putting 0.99% in one of the years when the interest rate went completely down, it's always 3%, because that will give you the extra that you're looking for,
Yeah.
And the other thing
Exactly.
people forget as part of their checklist is also, and I think that's a holding cost, which is your line of credit. You're still
Yeah.
paying interest on that, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm calculating my stuff, and I'm like, okay, who's paying for the interest on the line of credit? It's the property. Okay, the answer is the
Correct.
property. Okay, never try to dig into your personal account and pay for it. But
Yeah.
the best way
Exactly.
to do it is look at the property if it can pay for all expenses.
Exactly. Um, Another thing is that a lot of people, I'm diving into very micro because I know a lot of people miss that. All the other no-brainer stuff, I'm gonna leave it, but the micro ones, um, I would not forget about it, and also
Mhm.
take into consideration. It's like the insurance.
Oh,
No one knows.
good one.
No one like cares about the insurance. I don't know how that gets missed out. Like insurance is so important. Like, and it goes up every year.
That's right.
And we just forgot about that. I don't know how, but it's just did. So that's
But
something I would.
Alvin, what is interesting is also insurance is so critical on your closing.
Yeah,
If you
exactly.
if your insurance say no to you and you didn't do a proper due diligence at the
Yeah. Oh
beginning,
my God. Yeah. Shoot.
right? Because they may not insure it, right? So let's say if you were planning to buy it as a student rental, right? And
Yeah.
suddenly the insurance that you were thinking to go with, and they change their portfolio because of the whatever reason,
Hmm.
they are not doing any student rental. Guess what? They may
Yeah.
not do insure you. So do that due diligence on the insurance ahead
Yeah.
of time, because that piece is required on your closing time. The lawyer will
Yeah.
want to see an insurance
Exactly.
paper on it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just so people know, like the insurance company knows a lot about the demographic area where you're investing. So like the other day, I miscalculated my insurance because there was actually a history of flooding in that area. And so when you don't do your due diligence, you find out the terrain. That's another thing. Like I'm now
Wow.
I go as
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
micro as the
Awesome,
terrain.
man. Those are the
Yeah.
nuggets, man.
Yeah. The
we just see
terrain. Like
we just see the external building, right?
exactly. Like go to the city. The city will draw a map of where all the things have been flooded or like sewer problems or like I even now got a fellow investor of mine like told me about this and it freaked me out. Now I'm even more diligent and like looking into micro. Like if the environment surrounding where your property is or that neighborhood has been like a toxic waste spill, that also counts into the insurance as well too.
Wow. That's amazing, man. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy the amount of homework and due diligence we have to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add? So you talk about numbers, insurance, your number, your property types, what else you're looking at as part of your due diligence? Anything else
Oh,
you want to add?
definitely for sure. Screening your tenants because they are the
Oh,
if anything like the biggest. We all say risk management. Risk management. Like in real estate investing, the biggest risk for us is tenants. You know,
in our
you can
province.
especially Ontario.
so, so I
Oh
give you a good
man,
example. So there is my wife was telling me she saw an article. A Brampton investor went to
yeah,
somewhere in New Brunswick, maybe, or I'm not sure, where they don't have tenant laws, right?
yeah,
So he bought the property there and and increased the rent by $500 per unit,
yeah,
right? It was insane. Like what people told him, what is this? It's crazy, right?
yeah,
But hey, we are in Ontario, 1.2%
yeah. Oh my
increase is
god.
what we got. I paid myself for what is that, $10 or $20 a year. It's gone in the Starbucks or coffee already. my drive to Sudbury, almost. That's
Oh my
it.
god.
That is gone. That's been awesome, man. Thank you for sharing. So, few of the last, we're getting to the end there, and amazing nuggets that we're sharing with with everybody again. Like we focus so much on buying, but again, today we're getting together to kind of show to people it's not always just buying, it's also doing your homework. You want to
Yes.
sleep at nighttime, do take a time and prepare your checklist at least. And I hope we are adding tons of value here for everybody that is listening on this podcast. So Alvin, in the next 5 years, so where are you going from here?
Wow. Yeah. This is a question has always come up in my mind, ever since I saw how fast I'm going, I'm starting to see a really great 5 years down the road bright future. And with that, you got to make sure that you sustain when you grow too fast, because over leveraging,
Mhm.
um, scaling too fast can has a drawback as well too. So what I forecast is that I will need to develop a good system. My
Okay.
system will need to keep up with my expansion as well too. So we're talking about like I'm not currently incorporated, so that's something that definitely for sure needs to happen. So from there you can break down into two tiers. You are the CEO. You break down into two aspects: the active and passive side. The passive is where you're doing the long-term buy and hold. So I'll have my own in-house systemized in-house property management, have my VAs, have some live
Assistant. Mhm.
assistant so that it can help free up more of my time so I can look for creativity to purchase more property and negotiation. And on the active side, to sustain buying more property, you need to have quick incomes, right? So this is where like Airbnb flipping comes in. So definitely
Mhm.
have a system in place, definitely have like more people on board to help me out to catch up to my scaling as well too.
Man, I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed the amount of knowledge that you bring on board here. You know, from I just want to say something like being a professional. It's not every professional can take another skill set and develop into so much detail. And pretty much you got yourself another degree almost.
Thank you so much. it's it's
Congratulations, man.
it's definitely there's a reason why it's called a journey. We all talk about journey this, journey that. It's true
Yeah.
because a journey is all up and down, and the only way you can appreciate this journey is to look back into all the mistakes you made and see how you grew from it, learning from it. And that's exactly why we call it a journey. And yeah.
That's awesome. I'm just having goosebumps, like seeing,
Yeah.
I'm sure you are, 15 years younger than me. So I'm just, I started very late in the game, but just amazed seeing that, what are you doing in short period of time. So congrats for that. All right. I think we froze the screen here. I'm not sure. Let's see. Alvin, you there? Yeah, something was frozen there. Hey, Alvin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was before I got cut off, I was gonna say, Nasir, you've been part of my journey as well too. You have no idea how much great value contents you put in there, and I've learned from it. It was because
Thank
of
you.
you that put down. You always have the closing date on the 5th or the 6th. That's how I. That's how.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing. I'm sure you'll talk about that in your other podcast, but I always close on the 5th and 6th now.
Get some money, man.
Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome. No, thank you. I forgot about that tip I provided. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Yeah.
People are looking at you. So.
Thanks very much. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So some fun questions and generic questions. So you mentioned you started with Rich Dad Poor Dad as a book, a first
Yes.
book.
Mhm.
Can you share any other books that really accelerated your journey there?
Yeah. So I've this is my second best book I really like. So I'm It's called Who, Not How.
That's right.
And this book talks about how, when especially so relatable to real estate investor, we want to do our own renovation, we want to do our own property management, we want so much control, control, control. Nothing wrong with that. I know when we first start, we need to have boots on the ground. You have to get the experience and everything. But if you want to expand, you want to scale, you need to start trusting other people and hiring outsourcing. And so even like my coach was telling me, and I'll always remember this, your superpower is you have to know what your superpower, and there's only two. So as a real estate, for myself, I'll give you an example for myself, is finding deals and negotiating. So these are the two things I need to work on. The rest, outsource it. And if you want to talk about like, oh, I don't have enough money. Okay, well, once you buy one property, that covers everything.
That's right.
That cover all the expenses of your VAs, cover all the expenses of you doing marketing, just only buying one house alone. So why don't you just outsource it so you can have more time free? And in a personal level, once you outsource it, you have more time to more balance in life, and also like be able to spend time with your family. And that's exactly what this book is about.
Yeah, one of my items in my list is outsourcing. Is to prepare all this tax stuff, to send it to the
exactly.
To send it to the accountant, you still have to do work before the accountant gets the info, right?
Correct.
So I mean, it's a great model. Why not? The industrial, all these industrial companies, they're outsourcing their material, right? Like parts.
Yeah,
they can do it. They can grow. Like they are in in IT. We outsource all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe it's for the cost purpose, but it's expensive to train somebody new as well.
Yeah.
In-house. Amazing. That's an excellent book. Actually, after seeing you guys reading that book as part of your club, I end up buying as well. So it's in my list of. Right now, I'm reading the 10x rule. So I want to finish that book, and then next one will be this one. Yeah.
Okay.
And really, it's one of those things. It's kind of, and this is why I'm doing the podcast as well. It's pushing myself.
Yeah.
Share some knowledge out there. What is the healthy habit that you have right now?
Healthy habits. Okay. Yeah. So I like to wake up really early.
Oh man, I think it's it is crazy, but I will let you talk about it, because I saw one of your videos. I'm like, oh man, you are on fire.
Yeah. Thanks. I just want to live a healthy life, so I need massive change, not just only real estate, but massive improvement to my personal development. There's here's another good book for your audience. It's called 5 a.m. 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. So he made it into a fictional story of two fictional characters, but at the end of the day, the principle remains the same about why it's important to wake up really early, because you can do so much more in your business and also in life. Because when you wake up early, you have less distraction. So this is for people with family, with children, while all your children are sleeping, that waking up early, you can work on your real estate, exercise, eat, like make breakfast, or like do pre-cooking and all that stuff. So that chunk of time has already been shaved out, and now the rest of the time, if any there's distraction, you'll be okay, because you've already done the most important task. So that's why I made a habit to wake up really super early, and so that I can not just focus on real estate, but focus on myself as well too.
So you are living with the family, right, around you?
So no.
No?
So no, just myself.
Okay. And I was wondering, like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, you wake up, you must be like very quiet in the house,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's amazing. So I did notice you mentioned about it in your video. You wake up early, you can achieve a lot, you do your due diligence, quiet zone, and then you hit the ground, go do the work, and then you are back again.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's a discipline. It's really a discipline, right? So thanks for sharing on that. I think these are life improvement we all need. Sometimes we get caught up with all the activities with the kids, and we don't have time for ourselves as well.
Correct.
Unfortunately, I can take her for a date at 5 o'clock in the morning. Maybe at Tim Hortons. Maybe I can take her for a quick breakfast in the morning. Oh, that's awesome. How can we find you, or a listener can find you, Alvin?
Yeah,
If
so
they
I'm
want
very
to ask you more questions, on your journey, and maybe, I'm sure you are going in the future of joint venture as well, private
Mhm.
lending, so to grow your portfolio. So how can people reach out?
Yeah, so I'm very active in my social media, specifically Instagram. So you'll always find me there. So my Instagram tag is this is Alvin Wong. So as simple as that.
Simple as that. Awesome,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Awesome. Um, what what are the advice you can give to the new beginners?
yeah. So honestly, we all are all capable of doing anything, and I say this very genuinely because I've come from a nursing background. As I mentioned, I don't have the resources to be able to prepare me to just do it on my own. You know, and but what I've done is, and for the sake of this podcast, it's called due diligence. Really do your due diligence. So if you really get stuck, really end up like having problems taking action, then consider seeking someone who's doing what you're doing
Mhm.
and what you love to do. Ask them for help.
That's right.
And if I can do it, like I started from no properties, no investment knowledge or anything like that. Like if I'm able to do it, so can you guys. I'm just an ordinary guy who eats the same food as everyone else and have two legs. So
Wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
exactly. So yeah, so I really wish all your audience good luck. And also it's going to be fun. It is a fun process. There are ups and downs, but it's like I said, it's a journey.
Yeah. I just wanted to add there as well is, ask questions, as
Yes,
part of the due diligence. It's the investor community, anybody, 1 or 100 properties, they are very helpful providing information, and that's the great communities. You look at other industries or other, it's very secretive, you ask questions, nobody wants to share. One thing I do realize is that, since my journey in 2008, people are very open to the information, and that's but you need to be driving the questions, ask the questions, reach out, as a new
exactly.
beginner, reach out. There's tons of people that are willing to help you guys.
Exactly. You're gonna have the odd ones that just doesn't want to share, but that's not our community. Our communities are fabulous. I can express how grateful and how happy I am to be part of this network.
Awesome. Hey, Alvin, I just wanted to say thank you again for the amazing nuggets that you shared today, and the congratulations on the journey. It has been awesome listening to you, and getting all the goosebumps on how did you do it, something so quickly. So thank you for sharing.
No, thank you for having me on, and thank you for what you're doing in this year. And
Awesome.
anytime.
Awesome. I definitely will be inviting you back again for other due diligence. The
Sounds
next
good.
step.
Sounds good.
All right.